Hello and welcome to the Black Complementary Therapist. I'm Pauline Blackwood, your host, and today I'm going to talk about how I got started in East London. Yep, it's about me. Let's begin at the beginning with some breathing. Ready? Okay, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Just a few of those. Oh, I feel better already. Okay, so I'm just home for a few days. There's been a few changes at work. There's some building refurbishments done at my practice, and so me and my neighbours are unable to go in and see our clients. So it's an interesting void time. I had a couple of days away, went to the sea, actually had a dip in the sea, which is a first in the UK for me to actually fully dip in, treading water in about 6 foot of water. It was amazing. Funny thing was, getting in was easy, getting out was not. It was a bit embarrassing because as I was getting up from the surf, I was knocked over and unceremoniously face planted in the pebbles. And in addition, when I got back to our lodgings, I, I was about to get showered, and when I took my top off, all these pebbles and stuff fell out, and I thought, crikey, how on earth did those get up there? And I didn't know. So yeah, I had to clear up a lot of sand before I could even get in the shower, which was quite amusing. But all the same, having that heat, having that warmth of the sun, feeling the breeze, and just having time to relax reminded me of all the times when I've been so stressed I didn't relax. I wasn't able to relax simply because I needed that bit of space. And it's very easy when you're working to forget how important it is to take a bit of time for yourself as a complementary therapist. It's not all hustle. So today's podcast is all about, in this first episode, how I got started as a massage therapist in East London. I'm 59 now, and in 2015, when I was 50, I was in perimenopause. I was totally stressed out. I'd got to the stage where I jacked in my job teaching. I was a secondary school teacher for many years. I thought to myself, surely there's more to life than this. Just going through perimenopause, being totally exhausted and working really hard and not really working in a way that I felt was sustainable. So, yep, I jacked my job in, and then I thought, what can I do? I did do some consultancy work. I'd been a home economist for 15 plus years. So I did some consultancy work in food hygiene training and some consultancy work for the Soil Association. And it wasn't really hitting the spot for me. I had to reevaluate what I wanted to do. I had to pivot, and I have pivoted many a time, believe you me. And I decided I'd like to do complementary therapies, which was something I'd always been interested in. I've always been interested in plants and nature and holistic movement. And I found something that I thought I could do, which was massage. And as soon as I signed up for the course, I knew it was the right thing to do. The first reason was because the teacher was amazing. She is amazing. She's still teaching. Her name's Yvonne Potter. She's in Norfolk. At the time, she was teaching for a company called Gateway Workshops, but she's now got her own massage school in Norfolk. Anyway, she's amazing, and she took us through the level 3 holistic massage course. As soon as I finished that, I knew, ooh, right, I need to do some more stuff. So I did 2 more courses. I did deep tissue and I did chair massage. And I did those 2 because I thought they would be easily more marketable because people don't always want to take their clothes off. And the deep tissue is for those who do want to take the clothes off and want firm massage. So those 2 courses kind of covered me at the time, in addition to the holistic massage. I started trading soon after that at Greenwich Market. Believe you me, I had a side hustle as well. I had another job on the side, so I wasn't going to be skint. So I started at Greenwich Market. Greenwich Market was great because they helped to train you up in how to present your store. They want your store to look good, so they advise you on that. They want you to have a real ethos so that you fit in with them, but also project that into everything you do. And that's really lovely. And it's a beautiful community at Greenwich Market. I stayed there for 2 seasons. Believe you me, the winter was cold, but they allowed me to have a heater. And the summer was hot, but it was gorgeous. And working somewhere which was close to my home to begin with meant that it was less stressful. Also, because I was only doing a couple of days a week, it fit in nicely. I was able to get into the rhythm of and really embody the role of a massage therapist, even though it was seated massage and even though it was on a market stall, it was my market stall, and that was a lovely thing. I realised that it wasn't going to work for me because there was another company there at the time who was doing chair-based massage on a Saturday and Sunday. And those were the best days. And I was there the other days, which were the really quiet days. And I thought, oh no, this is not going to work. So I decided I'd set up using my holistic massage side of things in E14. And I found a lovely place where I could rent by appointment times only. And it worked out pretty well. And it worked out for just a few months until I realised this isn't working because I have to pay for the room by the 1 hour, and it wasn't a format time I particularly liked. Also, I got myself into a bit of a pickle with a discount marketing company, and I had poorly negotiated the amount they were taking as a cut in order for them to get their clients in. And I don't believe it's an ethical form of marketing for something like massage. If you're going to do something where the level of work you have to do is not so great and not so taxing, then it's possible to do a discount. But for me, I don't believe massage and osteopathy are the right things to use for these types of companies. The discount is too great. So for that reason, I realised I had to stop doing that. So I got out of the contract, but I went straight into a new space. So from an hourly letting space, I went to a space that was let by the month, and that was my room to use and decorate as I wished. Also in E14, fantastic. And I've been there ever since. So the key thing about this room is I was able to decorate it, but it was nicely fit out already. I had to get all the resources I needed and have them there. This, for the first time, meant I could have a Google page, a Google My Business page, and I was able to just network and get to know my neighbours and get started. And it was a dream. It was an absolute dream. One of the things that made me more successful there was, of course, having the space, but also I decided I was going to use Treatwell at the time. They take they take 25%, but it ends up being 30% because you've got to add VAT to that. But it was worth it at the time because the pricing that I had was keen, pretty good, and so that 30% didn't feel like a big dent in my takings. They were marketing to people I would not probably have any way of getting to. I was able to offer special offers for the mornings, so that got a different crowd in who are real bargain hunters. And it was interesting because I was able to establish myself over that first year pretty easily. And it felt like a dream compared to the previous place where I felt trapped as soon as I was in the space because lucratively it wasn't working. And there are people who do lots of workshops about relationships with money and such like, meaning what working out why one is not so good at setting a good price for what they are doing. I do believe that it's important to have that discussion at the very beginning when you're starting a business. It's not enough to say, well, the minimum viable amount I can live on is this. This is not a place of negotiation. The negotiation should be about, I need to live comfortably to do certain things, like save towards my pension, like pay my rent and my mortgage, like eat well enough, like have fun, maybe have a couple of holidays a year, that sort of thing. That's the sort of discussion one should be having when starting a business, because otherwise it's not going to be working well for you. It's not going to be a healthy environment for you to be working from. Being in this new location meant that I had time and opportunity to think about how I was going to get my bookings in, how I was going to deliver my service, what sorts of massages I was deliver, what range of products would I like to have subscriptions and packaging, how could I network with my peers and just keep up to date with current happenings. These are all things that I kind of dived into over the years until I reached a point where, yeah, this is all good. Treatwell's okay, but at some point I felt that they were stifling me. I felt like all the reviews they had in their system were not helping me in any way at all. And so I decided to cut ties with them. It was a scary one, I'll have to admit, because although they get you all the bookings in, they don't feed you, if you know what I mean. They're getting a fair whack of your takings for all the advertising that they are doing on your behalf. And I worried initially that I wouldn't be able to attract clients. I really did. And I shouldn't have, because once you start attracting clients, your business comes through and they book because you are you. And that's the most important thing. So what I did when I split up with Treatwell was just before I split up with Treatwell. And there were a couple of reasons why I split up with them. One of them was initially when you got a booking with Treatwell, they would send a link so that you could add it to your calendar. And I had a Google Calendar, which was great. And that way, when you got the booking, you could add it to your calendar. And if you had a second booking system, which is one thing that I wanted, they could both appear on the same calendar. Well, after a while, they stopped doing that. And so every time I took a booking, I had to manually add it to my Google Calendar and then take it from there. And I thought that was a bit crafty. The second thing they did was they had all these reviews, but you couldn't really share them elsewhere very easily. And I found that quite taxing as well. So I couldn't use the experiences I had with Treatwell to bolster my company very easily. And I felt that there was a bit of a divide there. So what I did was I started my own booking system using Acuity, which I love. And I believe my niece was using Acuity for her booking system at the time, or Squarespace, something like it. They're all in the same family. And I thought, wow, that's just great. I'm going to do the same. So I started using Acuity. I sorted out my Google business profile. I sorted out my website. And then from there, I started to get my own bookings through. And then I was able to cut with Treatwell. Along the way, there have been challenges for me that I would like to talk about briefly. Staying energized. It's really easy to just keep going. And you don't realize it at the time, but keeping going is like offering 50% of your energy to the world. And it's a bit dodgy, that energy. It's not the best energy. When you keep energized, there's a way to do it as well. So say, for example, you have an injury. So when you have an injury, say, for example, you sprain your ankle and you sit down until it is healed, that injury will heal slower in double the time that it would do if, for example, you walked really gently on that ankle, but you also did some cardio in the pool, getting that oxygen through your body. It's going to heal twice as fast and with strength. So working when you're not energized is depleting. That's what I'm saying. So keeping energized means you've got to really work with your body to keep it healthy. Good food, sleep, a little bit of exercise, a little bit of strength work, All of these things, wonderful for keeping you energized in order for you to do your work. One of the other challenges of this work, which initially, I'd say the first 3 years at least, was a problem for me, in that was looking after my hands. I did the deep tissue massage course, but it didn't sink in how much I needed to look after my hands in order to keep them in a good condition. When I say in a good condition, I mean like not abusing the joints in my hands, not working too hard through my hands, because the technique that you use is really important in order for you to be a sustainable practitioner. So being able to use your forearms and your elbows, or should I say soft elbows, and the heel of hand is really important. Fiddly stuff around the fingers, working through the fingers, is not a good idea. So one needs to either observe somebody working like that or do a course. And the reason is you can then have a play and work around how you're going to do this yourself. Even something as simple as putting your table down, the lowest height it will go at, is a bonus, because then you can use your body weight as well. If you're doing more traditional forms of massage that use feet, that use body weight, that use more stretches like Ayurvedic or Thai massage or foot massage, all of these ones are amazing because they allow you to just juggle with what extremities of the body that you can work with in order to get enough weight behind you so that you don't have to use your hands. If you've got small hands and you're double jointed, look after your hands from the get-go. Believe you me, sort your technique out, otherwise your career will be cut short, less than 5 years, guarantee you. So looking after your hands is one of the things I would definitely say is really, really important. And another thing, eating right. Eating right is really important. Yet you can get by with takeaways every night if you want, but tell you the truth, healthy diet, much better. And when I say healthy, I'm not saying go macrobiotic, darling. No, I'm not talking like that. I'm talking like eating right means just getting enough nutrients through your system, keeping yourself well hydrated, all of those things there, so important. So, for example, eating right in my neighborhood, it is easy, but it can be difficult. So say, for example, you're on a budget and you've got $5 a day. If you're going to have a meal deal every day, you're going to have to be so careful. However, if you have a visit to the supermarket and you get a huge salad box, some salad dressing, and a tin of protein, whatever your protein is, I'm not going to dictate what that might be. It might be a can of chickpeas, might be a can of fish, might be 2 boiled eggs. And then you find, I don't know, a nice bread roll somewhere. That would be less than a $5, nice healthy lunch, you'd be okay. Obviously, better to cook from home, do an extra portion at night, bring it in the next day. Exercising. I suppose it's similar to staying energized. Staying energized and exercising. Well, how do you exercise? So many different sorts. Being a massage therapist, you should know. You can mobilize, you can stretch, you can use strength, you can use speed, you could do cardio, you can do all them things there. So, using balance, mobility, cardio, strength, do the lot. Best way around that, do it all in one, dancing. Dancing is all of them at once, I always believe. Having a social life and time for love and life is so important as well. Because if you just work, rest, it's not enough. You've got to work, rest and play. You've got to work, rest and play and all of those things. Be creative, be artistic, be spontaneous, be in nature. All of those things so important. Keeping an eye on the numbers and deadlines is another one, because deadlines, like bills, need paying. Deadlines need to be met, and not keeping them is a way for things to fall through the cracks, and before you know it, you're in a chaotic, rushed corner where you can't keep energized, where you can't look after your hands, where you can't eat right, where you can't rest right, where you can't exercise, where your social life is diddly squat, and where When you can't keep an eye on the numbers and deadlines, things go wrong. And lastly, sanity. All of the above relate to the sanity, because as soon as things start slipping, the sanity goes, and that's not a good place to be. You may as well be working for somebody else, because where would be the joy in work when you can't look after yourself mentally, physically, spiritually? You've got to hold it together. So I think now I'd like to talk about future plans. Yeah, future plans. Can I do this work till I'm 60? I don't know. I'm not going to tell you when I'm 60 at the present, because I've just started this podcast. And I don't want to go there quite yet. I do have some passion projects though. Do I want to do this till I'm 60? Probably not. I've not danced in a long time. I feel like I haven't danced the way I enjoy dancing when I'm dancing alone, that is. I've been to clubs, and we've been to lambada clubs, salsa clubs, that sort of thing. That's been quite nice. But I would like to dance maybe with drums or something every now and again. I miss that. I said years ago that I'd like to do patchwork quilting. Patchwork quilting would be fun. That's something I would like to learn. I have been sewing of late, something I do every now and again. Luckily there's a machine in the cupboard so I can sew when I want to. I want to make patties from heaven. Oh yes, and I'd like to make my own rough puff pastry for them. I'm wondering about new services to provide, so I'm inquiring and looking into how one puts together online courses, and that should be a fun thing to do. And future plans include this podcast. Perhaps in some way it can expand into not just me chatting about stuff, but me chatting about stuff with other people. Now to you. What do you think about resilience and how you work with it if you're a Black complementary therapist? How do you build resilience into your everyday practice? Are you a reflective practitioner? How do you check in on yourself, and do you plan that into your working week? Do you diarise your reflective practice in some way? Well, I think in some ways this is my reflective practice for the next few weeks, and in 2 weeks' time when I do the second episode, we'll take it from there, and I'll perhaps tell you how I used the time on this podcast to reflect on how I've been doing in the past. So at this point I create a call to action. So you can visit my website, pendulummassage.co.uk, to see a bit about me and how I work. You can subscribe to this podcast, which would be superb. You can also leave a 5-star review, which would be absolutely superb, because obviously getting off to a good start is a nice thing, is it not? I also have a YouTube channel which is called Pendulum Massage. So without further ado, I wish you a wonderful week ahead.